Good evening. Hope everybody's doing all right tonight. I I got a doozy for you tonight. Man, today's news, I don't know whether to laugh or what to do. It's almost, I hate to put this word on it, but it's almost comical in a twisted, dark, weird sense. Um, it's just odd, and we'll get to that in just a moment. Um, Last night, I just got a brief aside here. Last night, you may have. I agree, Missy. Absolutely, absolutely, 100%. Get your house in order, she said. That's absolutely 100%. Um, Real quick before we get into, I've got several tabs open, and man, I mean, I've got a pretty good progression here of tabs, if you know what I mean. It's going to be interesting. But anyway, I wanted to real quick before we get into that. Yesterday, some of you may have noticed that we didn't have our monitor for the security camera up there, right? Not a real big deal, right? But some may have noticed that. Well, what had happened was, um, our UPS, the uninterruptible power supply under my desk here, every so often it does a self-test. Well, I don't have very good, to be honest, connections down there, which that's where Patreon funds are going to come in this month. I'm going to rectify that issue, but anyway, the connector came loose, so my batteries came disconnected from my UPS. And I guess it decided to do a self-test, and there was no battery there to test with. So, of course, when it did its test, my entire side of the desk went down, including the NVR system with the security cameras, the, of course, computer and network switch, and all kinds of goodies went out. And when I got it back up, I never could get that monitor to come back up. And it was odd because the light would blink, but that's all it would do, is I'd get the blue blinking light. Well, read online, a fix was to hold the power button down 10 seconds. That was the way to reset them. So I unplugged it, held the power button down 10 seconds, and then when I plugged it back in, I didn't even get a blue blinking light. So, yeah, it is dead. My point in telling you this is I didn't call anybody to come fix my problem. Number one, I remembered a very, very important prepper rule of 1 is none and 2 is 1. And I've got backup monitors. And so it was just a matter of me going and digging in the shed to get a monitor out. And so anyway, that's what I did. But the point of what I'm saying, that is why it's important to be able to diagnose your own stuff. Look, there was an entire host of problems there that I had to figure out what was going on relatively quick. I mean, I kind of need my computer. And it was simple, you know. Especially considering I already knew I had an issue down there. It was simple. But that's going to be absolutely instrumental in your success or your failure as we go into this, whatever this is we're going into. Hopefully it's nothing like a meat grinder. But I'm telling you, it's kind of crazy. So anyway, like I said, I've got several tabs open, and I'm going to kind of take you through a progression here. So we start off with this. South Africa snubs anti-Russia sanctions. Okay. Says here, South Africa has no intention of enforcing Western sanctions against Russian businessman Alexei Mordashov, meaning his $500 million mega yacht may enter local ports, the spokesman for President Cyril Ramaphosa said on Tuesday. Speaking to reporters, Vincent Magwenya, the spokesman for the South African leader, noted that Pretoria has no legal obligation to abide by sanctions imposed by the U.S. and EU, adding that the nation's authorities adhere to UN sanctions. However, referring to the Russian tycoon, Magwenya added that currently there are no UN-imposed sanctions on the particular individual. South Africa, therefore, has no reason to prevent the vessel's entry into its ports, he said. So I wanted to give you at least just a little bit of a taste or a backstory as to the reason for the next headline. This is crazy. U.S. warns about potential terrorist attack. Well, how mighty nice of them. Let's dig. Terrorists are plotting an attack on a crowded public space in an upscale Johannesburg neighborhood, according to a security alert issued by the U.S. Embassy in South Africa on Wednesday. The embassy warned its staff to avoid crowds in that area over the weekend. The warning states that the U.S. government, no specific agency or individual, was tipped off that terrorists are planning to conduct an attack targeting large gatherings of people at an unspecified location in the greater Sandton area of Johannesburg on October 29. Sandton is a major financial and business hub, hosting Johannesburg's stock exchange as well as numerous corporate offices and high-end shopping developments. In addition to Halloween celebrations, the weekend scheduled events include the city's annual LGBTQ Pride Parade. Oh, wait. Oh, no, it gets better. While the U.S. warning did not specify any further information regarding the filming, the timing, method, or target of the potential attack, media speculation has drifted toward the Islamic State terrorist group, ISIS or CISIS, which threatened in 2020 to open a fighting front inside South Africa's borders should the country intervene militarily in Mozambique, where IS had been taking credit for attacks. However, no communications from the typically boastful terror group preceded Washington's latest announcement. Is it really a terrorist attack if you don't hear what the threat is? Anyway, South Africa, a member of the BRICS Trade and Cooperation Group that includes Russia and China, has refused to enforce U.S. and EU sanctions on Russia, stating the measures hurt bystander countries. Several African nations have lost or stand to lose access to cheap food and fertilizer due to the restrictions imposed on the West. So, are you reading between the lines here? You can go, it's not hard to find, where the United States created ISIS for a reason. They wanted a U.S. puppet terror group that they could use to, do their bidding. And they grew up. Now there's so many spin-off groups, and Lord knows which ones the U.S. is behind, which ones were not. It's hard to say at this point. But the initial ISIS that was created back in the 90s was U.S. built, was U.S. designed. It's insane. And then turn around, during the whole ordeal, the 20-year ordeal in the Middle East, at the end, it was obvious. Obama, big old airdrops. Bam. Oh, sorry. The enemy got a hold of the airdrop. And I mean, it just almost every time. Oops. Oops. It's insane. It is absolutely insane. And then you turn around, let's not forget about all the weapons that were left over there when we pulled out. This is not good. This is not good. But if that's not bad enough, got a couple of fun articles here. Putin oversees retaliatory nuclear strike drills, which they announced like late yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. Russian President Vladimir Putin personally oversaw military drills enacting a retaliatory nuclear strike on Wednesday. Now, mind you, the last time this was done was like, I don't know, 4 or 5 days, something like that, before they moved in to Ukraine. So just kind of tuck that in the memory hole there. Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu described the aim of the exercises as testing Russia's strategic offensive forces' readiness to conduct a massive nuclear strike in response to an enemy nuclear strike. According to the Kremlin, land, sea, and aviation deterrence forces took part in maneuvers. Targets located on the Kamchatka Peninsula, I'm probably saying that wrong, in Russia's Far East were obliterated by the Yars intercontinental ballistic missile, fired from the Plesetsk or something cosmodrome, oh my goodness, in Arkhangelsk region, and Sineva ballistic missile launched from the Barents Sea. Tu-95 strategic bombers also took part in the exercise. Okay, I'm going to quit while I'm behind on trying to read that. But you get the point, right? They had a missile test. Oh, not to be outdone, Pentagon conducts hypersonic test. I wonder if Putin goes and gets an ice cream if Joe will go get one. I bet he will. The U.S. Navy and Army have conducted a test of hypersonic weapons components and materials, advancing the Pentagon's efforts in a race with Russia and China to develop high-speed weaponry that can evade modern defense systems. Wednesday's launch of a so-called sounding rocket from coastal Virginia successfully tested hypersonic weapon communications and navigation equipment, as well as materials that can withstand the heat generated when traveling at Mach 5, or 5 times the speed of sound, the Navy said in a statement. A second sounding rocket will be launched later this week to complete the latest round of testing. These rockets contained experimental payloads that provided data on the performance of materials and systems in a realistic hypersonic environment, the Navy said. Such evaluations fill a critical gap between ground testing and full flight testing. The data collected from the latest sounding rocket campaign will drive warfighting capability improvements for both Navy and Army to ensure continued battlefield dominance. By the way, I just read you an article about a Russian nuclear missile test, and now I'm reading you an article about a U.S. test, and I just want to point out that RT is being about as fair as you could possibly be in their reporting. So I catch a lot of crap for using RT as a source. But time and time again, they're on the nose. And I'm not saying that there's not any propaganda that comes from their publication. There always is. There always is. You're not going to escape that. But it's not like U.S. media that's 100% propaganda, or many other countries' media that's like 100% propaganda. I mean, BBC. I mean, the Canadian networks. I mean, you see what I'm saying? They're at least straight. But anyway, I digress. I catch a lot of hell for it, I do. The Pentagon is scrambling to achieve hypersonic warfighting capability by the early to mid-2020s amid concern that the U.S. has fallen behind Russia and China in developing such weaponry. Russia, in fact, has already used hypersonic missiles on the battlefield in Ukraine, the first time that such technology has ever been used in combat. Pentagon officials claimed in May that the missiles weren't having game-changing effects. So they're not having any major effects or anything. No. Anyway, that would be U.S. propaganda. That's the thing that gets me. There are so many people so excited about going to battle. In fact, I cut out that snippet from yesterday where one lady... anyway, that's what I'm saying. There are people that... I don't know if they got a bloodlust or if they're just that dumb or what. But, This is not good stuff, and the U.S. has openly admitted on numerous occasions that we are behind. All this that's said in this paragraph is fact. Every bit is fact. However, I would argue with the Pentagon about the effect that Russia's hypersonic missiles could have, right? You have to understand, Russia's not using all hypersonic missiles or anything like that. They aren't trying to use it in a game-changing manner in Ukraine. I've said it a million times. Putin's been very reserved in Ukraine. Now, I don't think that's going to continue for much longer, but so far, he's been very reserved. Hey, let's not forget what we're paying all this tax money to fight for. Okay? Don't want us to forget about that. That country that's now signed a decree that will allow for strategic banks to be nationalized if deemed insolvent, according to a document published on the Parliament's website on Wednesday. The legislation enables banks declared insolvent, so, I'm sure the government's going to be able to, be the ones to do the declaring, to be bought out for a symbolic price of 1 hryvnia or whatever, less than 3 cents, and subsequently nationalized. Currently, there are 14 banks classified as systematically important in Ukraine, a list that includes both private and state-owned financial institutions. Huh. Imagine that. Imagine that. And this is the country that trillions of dollars are being invested in to save. I told you. I told you at the beginning of the show. In a very weird, sick, twisted way, today's news is almost comical. I told you, I warned you. I meant it. Oh, yeah, by the way, that border? Nah, nothing to worry about, remember? U.S. Border Patrol reports surge in terrorist encounters. U.S. Customs and Border Patrol apprehended 98 illegal immigrants at the U.S. southern border with names matching those on the terror screening data set, a government watch list of individuals believed to be involved with terrorist groups or affiliated with known or suspected terrorists, according to an agency data published earlier this week. While this figure represents just 0.0044% of the record 2.4 million people who illegally entered in the U.S. In 2022, it is a massive increase from last year, when just 15 people arriving through Mexico were found to be on the list. Come on down. The price is right, I guess. The numbers have grown exponentially since 2019, when none of the migrants apprehended at the southern border were on the list at all. CBP data obtained by the Daily Caller earlier this month revealed an increase of nearly 600% in the number of migrants flagged this year as special interest, meaning they had a history of traveling to areas of U.S. Department of Homeland Security as deemed national security concerns for reasons of terrorism or other unspecified nefarious activity. The majority of those were encountered at the Mexican border. You know, the thing that really kind of concerns me, it's a number of things all together, right? So, these weapons that are supposedly going to Ukraine, from my understanding, there's not really a whole lot of oversight on a lot of that. And let me just throw up a scenario to you and see what you think. You know, could possibly X amount of rocket launchers meant to go to Ukraine. Well, I guess the truck just didn't pick them up. They just loaded them on another truck that happened to, go somewhere in Arizona or something like that, to be picked up by possible terrorists crossing the southern border. You know, the one we don't got to worry about? Yeah, just come on up. Do not put it past this government. This government, on many occasions, have been at the root of heinous crimes against its own citizens. Anything from radiological testing in St. Louis to you name it. They constantly do it. Don't trust that this government won't make it easy for terrorists to be able to get a hold of weapons to cause some very serious damage in this country in order to do what terrorists do, further their political agenda. I expect it to happen. You've undoubtedly heard about this probably 20 or 30,000 times today. So I'm not going to really get into it. But as you know, or probably have heard, diesel fuel is in the news again. You know, keep an eye on it. You know, especially keep an eye on prices and stuff like that. But don't freak out. It wasn't that long ago it was in the news, and we were within days of running out, and then the DEF shortage, and we were going to be screwed. We didn't have no DEF, and then, so just, if you need diesel fuel, try to make sure you got some. Regardless, I'm sure you can expect to see the prices go crazy. But don't let these content creators scare you into thinking that the diesel apocalypse is around the corner. That's probably not the case. But, you know, boogeyman of the week and stuff. Let's see. Apple slashes production as consumer spending drops. And this is just something, I'm not really concerned for Apple. But this is something that I have told people to watch out for as an indicator when the financial situation for the average person has really went south. When it comes to things like the mobile devices, your electronic gadgets, when it comes to things like that, you see those sales drop. You see entertainment sales drop. Now, we've already seen the entertainment sales drop, but I think there were multiple things playing into that. And it wasn't just, everything, it wasn't necessarily just organic. I think with the COVID thing really kind of messed up a lot, I think, with entertainment. Not that I'm concerned about that either. But I think that really put it. And then there was a change. There's been a change in people's viewing habits. Not as many people are watching the boob tube anymore. There are a lot more people. And when I say not watching the boob tube, I'm talking about things like cable TV, right? Satellite TV. Or, they may or may not watch antenna TV. But you have a lot more people nowadays that are streaming their entertainment. Netflix, Hulu, YouTube, you name it. A lot of people are now streaming their entertainment. So the entertainment industry is changing, okay? So it's really kind of hard to say how much of that drop in entertainment money was because people tightening their wallets, or how much was just people changing the way. And I'm talking about, if you go to look at like ticket box sales for theaters and stuff like that, it's not a good gauge right now because there are too many other things that are changing that could have affected it. Alcohol. Now, that you need to watch for. And as I've said a ton of times, alcohol and or illicit drugs and or legal drugs, for that matter, these days, they will, when they start to fall off, the sales, and I mean hardcore fall off, that's when things are depression bad. So keep an eye out for that. Keep an eye out for that. We're pretty much now, we're waiting to see that alcohol sales drop, and that's pretty much where we're at now. So, man, this is nuts. Let me have a sip of coffee. I already ran through all the tabs. Hell, 30 minutes I ran through all the tabs. Not bad. Told you it was going to be a fun little ride. I just can't believe that ISIS is got to be concerned with South Africa because of their snubbing our sanctions. Right. All right. Well, man, been fighting my sinuses all day. Tons of drainage. Sucks. Thought there was something else too that I was going to bring up. Let's see. No, I guess not. No, that's right. We'll get to that. Okay. I just didn't bring that up as a tab. I knew there was something, but we'll get there. All right. India slaps Google with antitrust order. China slams latest foreign visit to Taiwan. U.S. vows to protect Asian allies with nuclear weapons. EU business groups oppose sanctions on Russian aluminum, says Reuters. UK to rejoin EU military scheme, says the Times. Ukraine a test range for Western arms, says Defense Minister. And I've been saying that for how long now? Zara finds way to stay in Russia. Israel shares Iranian drone intel with U.S. EU state bypassing sanctions in Russia, says the media. U.S. and allies warn North Korea of unparalleled pushback. I bet little Kim is shaken. He knows. All he's got to do is bring an ice cream cone and Biden will forget about it, right? That's all he's got to do, man. Like, is there like a delivery Haagen-Dazs or something like that? Because that's all he's got to do, right? He could sneak a nuke in. All he would have to do, right, is order delivery ice cream to Biden, and just synchronize the attack for when the Haagen-Dazs guy knocks on the White House door, 'cause he'll be away from the button. He ain't gonna be back for another hour and a half and a nap. Anyway, I digress. German man fined over the letter Z. You thought the cancel culture here was bad? Hell, you can't even say the alphabet in Germany. Let's see. Adidas cancels Kanye West. Yeah, I don't know why I put that there. It's so stupid. This whole thing, and I haven't dug into it. Why? Because it's Kanye. I don't give a damn. But I don't care about entertainment. I don't. I associate that with having idols and stuff like that. No. I believe I'm supposed to be as far away removed from her as I can, right? I'm pretty sure I was commanded for that. Or commanded to do that. But anywho, yeah, I don't know what he's had to say, but apparently he's being accused of being an anti-Semite. I don't know if he is or not. I haven't heard what he's got to say. But considering some of the people that I've seen that's kind of been in his corner, before I would make a judgment, I damn well want to know what it was that he said. I'd want to see the clips myself or see it in the print that he wrote myself. Because I know how the media loves to spin this stuff. And there is a gigantic, enormous difference in between being an anti-Semite and being an anti-Zionist. Two totally different things. And if Yi is anti-Zionist, he's got my support on that. If he's anti-Semite, he doesn't. I don't support anybody that discriminates for color or religion or anything like that. But Zionists are a different story. And I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But I know that, there's a lot of crap about it. Yeah, that's what this article was. Adidas cancels Kanye West. Yep. Saboteurs tried to steal weapons in Russian frontline city, says media. Kiev turning Zaporozhye into Mariupol, says Russian official. New COVID-19 strains detected in Russia. Saudi Arabia slams U.S. for manipulating oil prices. You know where else there's new COVID-19 strains? Oh, Boston. Man-made. About Biden. Biden having the button? I didn't mean to click that. Oh, yeah. It seems like I heard something about the Skechers thing, too, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, but I don't know. I'd probably trust Yee with the button more than I do Biden, though. I mean, I don't know. That's a hard call. I don't know. Let's see. Ukraine wants Russia kicked out of the Red Cross. Putin extends trade ban with unfriendly countries. Lithuania's top general weighs in on further aid to Ukraine. Turkey slaps Meta with multi-million-dollar fine. I hope the chicken gets reparations. Putin urges security after Nord Stream attack. Kremlin responds to U.S. troop deployment on Ukrainian border. Sunak reinstates UK fracking ban because he's an idiot. Russia shares dirty bomb concerns with India and China. South Africa, cover that one. Research reveals how many burgers are safe for climate. So they're getting it down to just how many hamburgers you can have per week. And I think the answer was 2. So, well, here's the thing, okay. 2 hamburgers a week, okay. But I get to have hamburger in some form or fashion in every other meal, right? I think they can bite me. Let's see. Germany unveils recreational marijuana plan. Super emitters of greenhouse gas mapped by NASA. If weed would have been legal in Germany, the whole Hitler thing might not even happen. You know what I mean? A joint could have saved that. Actually, not really joking. Really not. I don't see too many violent pot smokers. I just don't. Imagine that. Let's see. Terrorist attack kills 15 in Iran. Let's see. I missed that one. Details of Finland's potential NATO membership revealed, says media. Switzerland explains its neutrality. Ex-Russian, no country should have to explain neutrality. Really. That's crazy. Ex-Russian presidential candidate faces 15 years in extortion case, says TASS. Yeah, right? Greta Thunberg is going to be responsible for our menus. Let's see. Ukrainian banks. Oh, I actually did that article. Big-name athletes leave Kanye West agency amid anti-Semitism row. I mean, it's crazy. I went ahead and shared those articles because it just shows you the insanity. And I'm not saying no, I don't support Kanye. I don't support any of those freaks. I'm talking about entertainment freaks or athletic freaks. I don't know. Let's see. Cover that one. U.S. Navy discovers source of aircraft carrier's tainted water. That's a good thing. Weapons sent to Ukraine ended up on the black market, says Putin. And they do. I mean, that's already came out. Ukraine names Kiev Street after neo-Nazis. And again, we're sending them trillions of dollars? Saudi Arabia duped Washington on secret oil deal, says media. You know, and it really doesn't make any sense, does it? Right? Think about this. Kanye, right now, is dealing with all his mama drama stuff because of claims that he's anti-Semitic. And again, I can only say claims because I haven't heard what he said. So I can only say claims. And that's not okay. And everybody has to avoid him now. Everybody has to turn their back to him now. But your government is giving trillions of dollars in military support and aid to a country that are naming streets after neo-Nazis. The United States of America, they're tearing down statues and monuments for people that fought in the Civil War, and I mean, it's insane. Let me repeat that in Ukraine, they're naming Kiev Street after neo-Nazis. I don't get it. I don't understand the people in this country that supports our involvement in any way in Ukraine. And I really do think it's about to get hot. I really think that the NATO is going to be full force in. Saudi Arabia duped Washington on secret oil deal. Elon Musk shreds New York Times over profile. Priests and nuns watch porn, says the Pope. Haven't we already determined that particular church seems to be involved in certain trafficking activities? We already know that they've covered up countless amounts of priest abuse and just moved the priests around from parish to parish. We found out about the horrific details about all of the children that particular church organization that were, whatever happened to them all, the ones in Canada at those schools. I don't understand why we allow it. I don't get it. Zelensky gets message from Putin. U.S. struggles to find ally to send troops to Haiti, says media. What blows my mind about this, and It's hard for me to believe that a nation of people, and I'm sorry, I gotta call a spade, are so weak they won't stand up and crush the individuals that are behind and protecting the individuals that are doing this stuff. I don't get it. I don't get it. Oh, well, we have to be lawful, and we have to. No, you don't. And I'm not giving you any legal advice or anything like that, yada, 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 BS. But what you do is your decision. I don't get the disconnect. We're so many people, 350 million people. And we can't build a big enough crew to put a stop to the very things that is doing the most harm to the most special thing in the universe. Blows my mind. U.S. struggles to find ally to send troops to Haiti, says media. Because we just want to get involved in even more countries. Let's see. U.S. scales back plan for Russian oil price cap, says Bloomberg. You know, you got to help them out. That's going to be an opinion piece, so. Okay. I think I pretty well got it covered. It's insane. It is truly insane. Like I say, just keep at getting ready. Go through your things, make sure everything's good to go. You know, that broken record I've been saying here recently. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here. God willing, I'll be back tomorrow night and we'll finish up the week and go from there. So, I appreciate everybody coming. Hope to see you tomorrow night. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.